very, very interesting. What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're going to talk some football. Houston Texans football. Man, y'all already know what it is. If you're talking Houston Texans football right now, you're talking about one thing, and that's quarterback Deshaun Watson. Will he or will he not be Houston Texans? Will the Texans be forced to trade him? Will he really sit out for a whole season? What is going to happen with this whole situation? So you already know that's what we're about to talk about. This is the only thing we want to talk about. I know some of you out there like Spitz. JJ got cut. You didn't do a video about JJ. You're going to do a video about JJ. Why you didn't do a video about JJ? Yes, I'm going to do a video about JJ. I was supposed to do a video about JJ last week after he got cut, or released rather. But the whole winter storm happened. Man, hope everybody was out there being safe. I know this is a crazy time to be in the state of Texas. I've never seen cold weathers like that in the state of Texas ever. So that shit's just so crazy. But like that's the reason why I wasn't able to do the video. But some information came out today about Deshaun Watson meeting with David Culley, and well, not meeting with him. He talked to him briefly a week ago. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Like the national media be glossing over certain things, like because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the spoiler alert: the national media is the biggest driving force that doesn't want Deshaun Watson to be Houston Texans. Like newsflash, like, and they say things and they leap over a whole bunch of stuff and they give you misfacts because they're trying to fit a certain narrative. And I'm about to explain exactly what that is and exactly how they're doing and how they having some people actually think about this whole Deshaun Watson potential trade, forced trade, whatever you want to call it. They have people looking at it completely and 100% wrong. They just completely just do because they're trying to fit a certain narrative. And a lot of stuff has happened recently that makes you think like, okay, really, what's the real option here, and what are they really going to do? And be honest, why the Texans really can't even afford to trade Deshaun Watson. So we're gonna talk about that. But let's talk about we all know Deshaun Watson wants to trade. He is willing to force his way out. He has a no trade clause and all this type of stuff like that. So he basically dictates where he wants to go. I've said that numerous times. That's Deshaun Watson's leverage. The Texans' leverage is they don't have to trade him. That's their only leverage. They don't have to trade him. Now the whole thing about he talked with David Culley a week ago and basically last Friday and told him that he has no parts of. He's not changing his stance, and he has no intentions on ever playing for the Texans ever again. He has no intentions ever returning to Houston and playing for the Houston Texans franchise ever again. Again, this is what has been reported. I think Aaron Wilson might have retweeted as well, but that is what's being reported. They still haven't. He still hasn't met David Culley face to face. This was a brief phone conversation from what's heard. The other thing is the Texans are dug in that they're not trading Deshaun Watson to the point that teams, they're not even answering the phone. Teams are leaving voicemails with potential trade offers, which is just hilarious to me because I just think that's funny. And hey. Is this the general manager from the New York Jets? Yeah, I'm calling about Deshaun Watson. Hey, hit me back. I'm willing to offer 2 first-round picks this year. I'm willing to offer a couple seconds, maybe some potential first, and maybe some defensive players. Yeah, call me back. It would be really funny if you can leave it at a callback number. Call me back at 825-37 29, 33, 44. like that was you have NFL billion-dollar industries calling each other, leaving voicemails with callback numbers. Like that shit is just unprecedented, unheard of, and that's the real standstill that we in right now. And I know people out there like, oh, Deshaun Watson, he gonna hold out, he gonna hold out. I'm not too sure. I'm really not too sure about him holding out, and this is the reason why we talk up the fines and people like, oh, them pennies to Deshaun. He got $140 million contract. Man, when them fines start racking up, and like I've been saying all along, it's not like the old CBA. He can not. If he gets traded or he comes back, whatever the case may be, them fines are sticking. They can't waive them fines like they could back in the day. That's it. Them fines are set in stone. Them fines cannot be waived. So he's costing himself money. So, and also if he sits out, he's still under contract for 5 years. His contract extension hasn't kicked in yet. He still has 1 more year left on his rookie deal, and then he has 4-year contract extension that he just signed. If he sits out, if he sits out the whole season, all that does is just restart his contract back over, because instead of his contract being over in 2025, it'll be over in 2026. or 2027 whenever he comes back. Like if he sits out for 5 years, he's still under contract for 5 years for the Texans. So sitting out really doesn't do anything. So people have been brought up, well, he can go out there and fake an injury. Go out there, go to camp, and like, oh, my back hurt, or oh, my arm hurt, or oh, my shoulder hurt. Get placed on IR, he still get credited, and that year goes off his contract. And then people keep on bringing up Le'Veon Bell, sitting out like Le'Veon Bell did. One, Le'Veon Bell was not under contract. Le'Veon Bell was under the franchise tag. Le'Veon Bell was under the franchise tag, and that's why it didn't hurt him. He didn't get fined because when you're franchise tag, unless you sign the tag, you're technically not under contract. So he never racked up any fines. He sat out a year, and the Pittsburgh Steelers could not re-franchise tag him because he was franchise tagged the year before. He was already franchise tagged already. That's the reason why Le'Veon sat out his year, because he got franchise tagged the second time, and he won the long-term contract. That's what happened. It was like if Le'Veon was still able to get franchise tag, Pittsburgh could have played hardball and franchise tagged him again. Then Le'Veon would have had to sit out for 2 years or end up playing under the franchise tag, or if they would have came up with a contract extension, whatever the case may be. But this notion of bringing up, comparing him to Le'Veon Bell, one, quarterback and running back is two different things, and three, there's apples to oranges because Deshaun's under contract still. So he doesn't have the same luxury that Le'Veon Bell has. Now back to the whole Deshaun Watson faking the injury. If Deshaun Watson fakes the injury, this whole thing like, oh, if he sits out a year, fakes the injury, he come back next year and get traded next year. If the Texans ain't willing to trade him now, why would they trade him a year later? So like I said, so is Deshaun going to fake an injury for 2 years? Is he going to fake an injury to the lifetime of his contract, which is under 5 years, and potentially and under his contract, Deshaun can get franchise tagged 3 times because he's a quarterback. So because he's a quarterback, he's able to get franchise tagged. Other players' position going to get franchise tagged twice. Deshaun can get franchise tagged 3 times. So if the Texans want to play again, want to be a hard ass, even if you don't want to play, still we'll franchise tag you. Ain't shit you can do. Like, so we talk about a guy potentially sitting out between 5 and 8 years potentially. I don't think it's gonna come to that. But I'm just saying, like, that's the control that the Texans have about the whole stance of they don't have to trade him. They don't have to trade him if they don't want him. The whole thing, well, they ain't got a choice. The Texans ain't got a choice. No, the Texans really don't. If I have something and you want to buy it, I don't have to sell it to you. I don't have to sell my phone. You want my phone? I don't have to sell it to you. You might want it. You can want it all day. You can offer all what you want. If I don't want to give it to you, I don't want to sell it to you, I don't have to sell it to you. Like I don't have to sell you my phone. So that's the whole thing that the national media wants to gloss over. He'll sit out a year and be traded. Just because he sits out a year doesn't mean he automatically get traded next year. The Texans don't have to trade him still. So it's back to this whole tug of war, this whole blinking contest between Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. Is Deshaun Watson really going to dig in and sit out multiple years if he has to, and rack up multiple fines if he has to? And then even if it gets to that point, and I think if you make that blood that bad, I could definitely see the Texans being, we'll just franchise tag you. We're going to force you to retire. like we basically gonna force you to retire. Either you gonna play, and then if he retires, if he ever decides to play football again, he's still the Houston Texans until the Houston Texans trade him. So like that's the whole bad thing about him being under contract. If Deshaun's trying to force his way out, like he is under contract. He having a no trade clause gives him all this power. The only power Deshaun has is that he don't have to go somewhere he don't want to go. And the reason why he has a no trade clause is so he won't be blindsided by a trade. He won't wake up one day and be like, oh shit, I got traded. Now Tom Brady has a no trade clause in his contract. He also has a clause in his contract that he cannot get franchise tag. Deshaun doesn't have that clause either. If Deshaun was really trying to force his way out, well, because people were talking about Deshaun's had this in his mind since he signed the contract, that's the reason why he put the no trade clause in there. No, Deshaun put the no trade clause in his contract so he would never get blindsided by a trade. That if they ever wanted to trade him, he would have to be notified of the situation first. That's the only reason why he got the no trade clause. It wasn't he was trying to force his way out, because if he was trying to force his way out back then, he would have put other stipulations like you can't franchise tag me and all the other stuff. But he didn't do none of that. Tom Brady did. Tom Brady can't get franchise tagged or nothing in his contract. He had no trade clause, can't get franchise tagged. So Deshaun, if it was that plan going forward, Deshaun would have been put that in his contract. Now let's talk about the reason why the Texans shouldn't trade Deshaun Watson. Because I'm gonna bring this up. Deshaun Watson, we all know, led the league in passing. Let's talk about exactly. Deshaun led the league in passing with 4,823 yards. Deshaun Watson was third in completion percentage behind Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. Deshaun had 70.2. Aaron Rodgers had 70.7. Drew Brees had 70.5. Deshaun was third with 70.2. Deshaun Watson was second in the NFL with quarterback rating, with a quarterback rating of 112.4, only behind Aaron Rodgers, who's the MVP, by the way, with 121.5. Yards per attempt, Deshaun Watson led the NFL with yards per attempt. That's 8.9 yards per attempt. Led the NFL. And then passing touchdowns, he was tied at 7 with 33 touchdowns behind Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, Ben Roethlisberger, and Tannehill, and Deshaun all were tied for 7 with 33. Also, he was third in the NFL with touchdown to interception ratio. He threw single-digit interceptions. So you have a 25-year-old quarterback with those type of numbers. Now, I know you might want to say, oh, it's a bad football team. We already know it had nothing to do with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson put the Texans in position to win every single game, but the defense either let him down, or Nick Martin let him down, even Kiki let him down, but not really Deshaun Watson letting his team down. So, now, when you see what happened earlier this year with the whole Matt Stafford trade, Matt Stafford going for 2-1s and a quarterback swap, when you see that trade, you get happy, you get crunk. You're like, okay, if the Texans have to trade Deshaun Watson, they going to get something for him, because Matt Stafford is 32, 33 years old. Even though he's tied in the NFL 16th all-time in yards and touchdowns, he's not the same player as Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, he's 0-2 in the playoffs. Deshaun Watson is 2-1. It was 1-2 in the playoffs. Deshaun Watson's won division, something that Matt Stafford has never done. Like, Deshaun Watson has more pelts on the wall. He's younger, and he's just a better quarterback. He's just a flat-out better quarterback than Matt Stafford. So you're going to get way more. And then the whole thing about the Eagles trading Carson Wentz. And purportedly the Eagles wanted 2-1s. I'm like, if the Eagles get 2-1s for Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson virtually cannot be traded, because if Carson Wentz is getting 2-1s, you have to give up 10-1s to get Deshaun Watson. And people out there like, oh, that's not working out. I brought up the Jets with getting the 2 first-round picks this year, their second-round pick this year, their 2 first-round picks next year, and their second-round pick next year. Those 6 picks plus Quinn Williams. People been talking about I'm crazy for that, and people been talking about that the Jets won't give that up. The numbers I just named about Deshaun Watson, that's a franchise quarterback at the age of 25. That's worth it. If you're telling me I'm getting a franchise quarterback that's that lethal, led the league in passing, third in quarterback rating, third in completion percentage, second in quarterback rating, lead the league in yards per attempt as well. Also led the league in passing with 44 less attempts than the second person in Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was second in yards, and people are like, oh, Patrick Mahomes would lead the league in yards if he would play the last game. Y'all know I'm a tick guy. Oh, he would lead the league in yards if he would play the last game, and that's more likely true what will happen. He still had 44 more attempts than Deshaun Watson. On average, a quarterback throws between 25 to 30 attempts a game. So you basically saying that he threw a game and a half more times than Deshaun Watson did, and Deshaun still got more yards than him. And did it at a more efficient clip, because he has a better quarterback rating, and he has a higher completion percentage, and has more yards per attempt. Come on, man. Again, you don't walk inside the Louis store and like, oh, that's too much. I don't want that. No, if you want that Louis bag, you're going to pay for that Louis bag. You don't walk inside the Louis store and be like, no, that's too much for the Louis. No, that's too much for that. No, if that's what you want, you're going to go up there and buy it. That's what you want. That's what you're gonna buy. When rich people want to go get that, that's what they go buy. They want the Louis. They want all this stuff. They go get that. They want the Lambo. They go get that. Then like, oh no, that's too much for that Lambo, bro. Nah, I can't buy that Lambo. That's too much. Can I come down the price a little bit? No, if that's what you want, go get it. Again, like I brought up, I ain't gotta sell my phone. If you want my phone, I don't have to sell it. I don't have to sell you this. I don't have to. If my price is too high, you don't have to shop here. You can go shop anywhere else. So if the quarterback price is if the price is too high for Deshaun Watson, go ahead. You don't got you don't have if the price is too high. You ain't got to shop here. Go somewhere else about your quarterback. You ain't got to shop here if the price is too high. But I firmly believe the Texans really don't want to trade Deshaun Watson. Another reason why is because of the whole Carson Wentz. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and look at me and listen to me when I say this, because listen to Spitz right now. Carson Wentz going to the Colts is a very, very scary thing. I'm not joking. I'm not playing. I'm being serious. I'm being serious. For the rest of the AFC South, Carson Wentz to the Colts is a dangerous thing. And for people out there laughing at me, that's fine. When y'all was afraid because Nick Foles was coming to Jacksonville, I said, have y'all seen Nick Foles? Outside Philadelphia, Nick Foles doesn't do anything. When the Titans traded for Ryan Tannehill, I thought it was going to be an open competition. He was going to beat out Mariota, but I said Tannehill was going to win that job. I said Tannehill was going to be a quarterback. And now Titan fans were out there mad because Deshaun Watson made the Pro Bowl and Ryan Tannehill didn't. When everybody was out here talking about Phillip Rivers, even though the Colts made the playoffs last year, and he didn't turn the ball over the way I thought he was going to do like he did in San Diego, but I knew the Colts weren't going to be a legitimate threat. And to be honest, if the Texans wasn't a bad football team, if the Texans were mediocre, the Colts would never make the playoffs. Just point blank. The Colts would never make the playoffs if the Texans were mediocre. So let's just get that understood. Carson Wentz with the Colts is a very dangerous, scary thing. One, his head coach was Carson Wentz's offensive coordinator when the year that Carson Wentz should have won MVP right before he got hurt. One thing about the problem with Carson Wentz is that he can't stay healthy. Now that's the whole thing. If Carson Wentz can't stay healthy, that's the equalizer right there. I agree. Okay, he can't stay healthy because he's basically like the quarterback version of Will Fuller. So if he can't stay healthy, I get that, understand that. But if he's still healthy, he has their offensive line in Indianapolis is a way better offensive line than he's had. Their defense in Indianapolis is a better defense than he's had in Philadelphia. And he has a way better running game now than he's ever had in Philadelphia. I mean, you got Hines, you got Jonathan Taylor. If they decide to bring Marlon Mack back as well, he has some little weapons. I mean, you got Pittman, you still got Ty. So you have a coach who knows him better than anybody, who was basically the guy who was whispering in his ear in Philadelphia when he was on his tear, when he was looking like he was one of the, when he was like he was about to be the next star of the NFL, when he should have won MVP, but he ended up getting hurt. Has a way better offensive line than he's ever had before. Has a way better defense than he's had before. And has a better ground game than he's had before. And has some more weapons. And another thing, like Carson Wentz constantly, Carson Wentz has played the better half of the last 2 seasons with his best weapon being Greg Ward. He's played the majority of the last 2 seasons with his best weapon being Greg Ward. Alshon been out in and out. Sean Jackson been in and out. This past year, Zach Ertz was in and out. His best weapon for the past year and a half, almost 2 years, fully, has been Greg Ward Jr. Come on, man. You give him Pittman, you give him Ty. I think they still got what's that boy name? Is it Pascal? They still got Pascal. The Colts with Carson Wentz, I think, can potentially win 11 to 12 games. If Carson Wentz can stay healthy, I'm not playing. And because of that, you can't trade Deshaun Watson. You can. The Texans will with Deshaun Watson in the division. Deshaun Watson the best quarterback in the division, easily, hands down. I believe if Deshaun Watson gets traded, Carson Wentz becomes the best quarterback in the division. I think Carson Wentz is better than Ryan Tannehill, and we don't know exactly what Trevor Lawrence is going to be in the NFL. Now, Trevor Lawrence can end up being better than Carson Wentz, but I'm just saying as of going into the 2021 season, and the damn sure going to be better than whatever quarterback the Texans tried out there. If they don't try Deshaun Watson, if they try out any version of Sam Darnold, Tua, what's his name? It was Wilson, even Fields, and even Trey Lance. Like, I don't think that none of these guys will be better than Carson Wentz off the top. Now, they could potentially be better, but not off the top. And actually, like, when it comes to Tua and Sam Darnold, I don't think they'll ever be better. But because of what I said Deshaun Watson is worth, like I said, the whole trade that I mentioned up, the 6 picks and Quentin Williams, that's the price. And the Texans not even answering the phone to even check and see if that's what somebody's willing to offer. Because I get it. I completely understand why they don't want to trade him. I just laid out. They don't have to trade him. Like, I don't have to sell you my phone. And they basically going to try to call Deshaun Watson's bluff and force him, basically holding Deshaun Watson, basically holding him hostage. They really are, because he's under contract for 5 years. And like, hey, you're going to play out this contract, bro. Like there's no other way to get around it. You can't get around it. You can sit out. Go ahead, sit out. But you're still under contract. You can fake an injury, but next year you're still gonna be under contract. And you're gonna continue. You're gonna fake an injury for 4 or 5 years. And if you do that, that's gonna hurt Deshaun Watson's reputation more than him. It's gonna hurt his reputation more than anything if he fakes an injury. That's actually the worst case scenario. Him sitting out, holding out is one thing. If he goes out there and fakes an injury, that's probably the worst case scenario, because for Deshaun Watson, because then one, he's going to be looked at like damaged goods, and people are, oh, they already know he's faking the injury. If they do know he's faking the injury, and he does it for multiple years, like, people are going to be like, it's going to have some drawbacks. People are going to start having drawbacks about Deshaun Watson. Like, do I really want to trade for him? Yeah, he's talented, but is he worth the headache? Is he worth the headache? Not saying Deshaun Watson's a headache, because I don't think he is. But I'm just saying that's what they potentially could be saying to each other when they talk, when they having these talks amongst themselves of should they pull the trigger on Deshaun Watson trade or not. And like I said, if the Texans don't trade Deshaun Watson by the draft, I don't think they'll trade him in this offseason. And I don't think they'll trade him by the trade deadline. And we'll be doing all this all over again next year if he sits out. And I think if he sits out or fakes an injury, whatever the case may be, I think that would just make the Texans dig in even more. Like, okay, let's see if you're going to do that again and again and again. And it's going to make it a very, very, I said this earlier, like, this can get very, very ugly. And I think both sides are willing to make it ugly to see who going to blink. To see who going to blink. And I know a lot of people like the Texans going to blink, Texans going to blink. I don't know. To be honest, to be completely honest, when this stuff first started coming out, I was like, man, Texas ain't trading Deshaun Watson. They ain't gonna trade. Then, after they hired David Culley, I was like, yeah, they gonna trade Deshaun Watson. They gonna do it. Now, I'm to the point that I really don't know. I really, as a Texan fan, I don't want them to trade Deshaun Watson. I want Deshaun Watson to come back and play. Because I waited 17 years for a franchise quarterback. I keep saying this. We waited 15 years for a franchise quarterback. I keep saying this all the time. But I don't really know. Because I know what, like I said, you can let go of JJ. You can trade away Hopkins. What jersey are you going to sell if you don't got Deshaun Watson? You can't sell whoever you bring. You can't sell a Tua jersey. You can't sell Sam Darnold. Ain't nobody going to buy them damn jerseys. They going to want Deshaun Watson. Same thing with Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or what's his name, Zach Wilson. They gonna want a Deshaun Watson jersey, not none of them jerseys. So that's really when you looking at, you like, damn, really what they gonna do? Like, on the cool, what really are they gonna do? And to be honest with you, I really don't know. I really don't know. I have no real clue. To be honest, I really don't have a clue. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Only thing I know is that he's under contract. That's all I know, is that he's under contract. And remember, David Culley said that at his press conference. He took the job. He said Deshaun Watson, Houston Texan. And he knows Deshaun Watson will be a Houston Texan. And I could just see them standing on their 10 toes and be like, you under contract. And nothing else to talk about. Especially they not even answering the phone and people leaving voicemails. I don't know. Like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. Holla.